This is part 2. The U.S. government should pay off all student loans. In my opinion, this debate is similar to the debate further back in America whether Medicare or Social Security should have ever existed. So let's just back up a little bit in history and go back several decades, or at least a few decades. There's always been politicians in this nation that were against what they perceived to be big federal government power grabs at the aggrandizement of the central government over the public, or politicians that didn't like big federal programs to start with. Back in the 1930s, a conservative Democrat named Thomas Gore of Oklahoma was very much against the New Deal program of Social Security by FDR. He even went and called it socialism. He was not related to Al Gore, but he did exist, and he was a very conservative Democrat that thought Social Security was socialism. Even Barry Goldwater was very much against Social Security and LBJ's Great Society, which was essentially mostly Medicare and Medicaid. In fact, when he ran for president in '64 as a Republican senator from Arizona, he ran on a lot of that agenda, that he was largely against these programs. The late senator from New York, Republican Jack Kemp, in the 90s or the mid-90s had called Medicare a middle class or an upper middle class entitlement program. And he was right. But even he said, as a conservative, we still needed these programs. They just needed to be reformed. So as a society, as a collective, we decided that all these programs need to exist because the public is largely dependent on them. Okay, so here goes this debate and the rest of this video. We decided as a country that these programs were needed largely to keep people out of poverty and so they could afford health insurance late in life. Programs are also needed, meaning federal programs are needed because a lot of jobs don't pay anymore. There's more competition for jobs. And ageism. They're throwing people out of the workforce at much younger ages. These major federal programs are largely now retirement programs, especially SSI, disability, and Social Security. The government may be forced to pay off student loans because basically hardly anybody can pay them anymore. There's an interest issue and people are once again getting kicked out of the workforce in their 40s. Careers will probably be a lot shorter in this nation. So instead of retiring at, say, 65, they might be into second careers in their 50s or retiring in their early 50s. AI is a complete mess. The public is being lied to, in my view, by the business establishment and big business. Artificial intelligence could eliminate half the jobs. Self-employment is on the rise, and it usually takes a long time, or at least a few years, to get a profitable business going. In my view, half the public is now self-employed in this nation, or something very, very close to that. That's another reason why it's hard to pay off student loans, because a lot of people are being forced down the road of self-employment, even with degrees. The world has changed and people can't afford to pay off these student loans anymore. The system has made it too rough to pay them off, mainly because of the interest. It never fails. Taxes always go up to pay for these major federal programs because we as a society still need these federal programs. And now they're even more needed. The government should pay off all the student loans because eventually they may be forced to, because hardly anybody's going to be able to pay and the interest is going to swamp people. It's really just a number in a cloud now, or some academic number. People can't pay off this debt anymore. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration. Please remember 9/11 tomorrow and the people that died on 9/11 in America. Thank you for doing that. Please also make a note that my next video is on, in theory, if Pierre Poilievre of Canada would have been more electable as President of the United States and his future with the Conservative Party in Canada. Thanks again. It's free to subscribe.